Take the largest tuft of creamy white wool and first just marvel in amazement at how soft it is. This is wonderful wool to work with, 100% wool. And you're just going to take it onto your foam block. I've got my felting pad here that I like to use, and you're just going to roll it up, kind of like you're making an egg roll. And so I'm going to start with my orange taped needle. This is the 38 gauge, and I'll just keep calling it the 38 from here on out. Turn it over once in a while, otherwise your egg shape, kind of what we're making for her head, your egg shape will be flattened. So make sure, yes, to turn it, pick it up off your piece. The fibers are actually becoming compacted as you work the needle in through the wool, because the barbs on the ends wrap the fibers together. Now, I have a little tip for covering up some of the more lumpy areas that are hard to fix sometimes. You can lightly drag the tip of your needle across the wool, but just be very careful doing that, or it can snap. So let's just highlight this little area here. I've got a little lump area, and sometimes the easiest way to cover that up is to take some of your extra wool that I have set aside in one of those pouches, and you just want to pull off the lightest amount. I mean, it's pretty transparent. You can just very lightly add in the felt there over that area, and it instantly just wrap it around, and it instantly smooths an area out. That's one of my techniques I use all the time. Okay, you keep felting this in until it's a nice shape. A nice egg shape is kind of what we're creating. I'm going to set the head aside for now. It's not quite perfect yet, but it's good enough. I want to move on to the body here. And you'll just unroll that medium-sized cream wool bundle that I've given you in your kit. And you kind of smooth it out a little bit in your hands. And I just do the same thing. I roll it up, and you're going to want this to be a slightly tighter bundle, since it is going to be the base. You know, the body's going to be what she stands on, so it's okay to make this a little bit denser. And it is a little smaller than the head. The head's the egg shape, and I would call this more of a square, a rectangle or a square, but with rounded edges. Okay, and we just want to make sure we pull it up and turn it around. Make sure that we are not flattening the body down against the work surface. Watch those fingers, and once again use the other needle if it helps you to position your piece that you're working on. And we're just gonna keep shaping it and turning it, shaping it and turning it. It's gonna look, I guess it's gonna look kind of like a little bit of a marshmallow. So you're gonna make that marshmallow, we'll call it a marshmallow shape. So you want that, looks like a marshmallow. Step 3, we're going to connect our pieces together. Okay, we're just going to position them in the center here. And then holding them carefully with the one hand and making sure your fingers are out of the way, you take that 38 needle and you're going down very carefully, not to bend your needle through your work surface. You're just going down through both layers. And what you're doing with the ends of the barbs on the needle is you're actually interlocking those little wool fibers, so that when I pick up the piece, but carefully because it's not completely attached, it holds together. And we're going to make sure we turn it over so she doesn't get flattened out. And we're going to go through the layers again on the back side. So with any joint area, you want to make sure that you're going around the entire base. You don't want to just go through the front side layers. You just want to keep turning it and repeatedly combining these layers together. And and watching your fingers. Trust me, you're gonna get yourself once and then you'll never do it again. They do sell finger guards, but I don't like using them. I like the feel of the wool in your hands. It's pretty cozy. Now, one of the reasons that wool projects tend to be pretty small, like fit in the palm of your hand, is because it takes some time. So to get it to this point, you're gonna probably spend about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe longer if it's your first time. Don't worry about it. Turn on a good TV show or podcast, and I think you'll really love how, I don't know, soothing and zen-like needle felting really is. Enjoy it. We're gonna take our cute little shape, set her aside there. Now we're gonna start on the ears. Take one of the two smallest cream bundles. Don't mistake it for the white bundle, that's for the tail. You're gonna roll it much in the same way we did with the body and the head, but you're gonna wanna kind of pull it out just a little bit so it's lengthened. It's kind of like we're rolling a penne noodle size, and you're just gonna keep rolling it and rolling it and rolling it. Okay, so this is what I've got. It's not much of anything yet, but it is the beginning. So roll it till it looks like a noodle, and then you're gonna take your orange 38 gauge and flatten it this time. You don't have to pull the ear off as many times as you had to pull off the head and the body, because these we want to be somewhat flattened, and you just kind of want to make this teardrop shape. You can kind of shape with your fingers and then go in with your needle. Using that 38 gauge to just go over the whole surface, flattening it, pulling in gently with the tip of your needle, very gently, or else it will snap. I've done it before, don't worry about it. Call me if you need another needle. Email me, I've got lots of needles, I can send you more. And we're just slowly creating our ear shapes. Done with shaping my bunny ears here, but I want to show you how to add the color inside of them. You guys, this is the most fun part. I mean, it's also fun, but this part is kind of like coloring with wool. So take your coral wool, and I gave you extra. I mean, really, you know, less is more when it comes to shading in. Things like cute pink ears of a bunny. I mean, look how thin that is. Really, it's just barely there. But when I put it up against the white, the cream rather, it will really pop. And you can always layer in more tiny wisp amounts to get a more pronounced color. And you'll just want to attach it with your 38 gauge. Now you'll notice if you turn over the ear, the pink comes through on the other side. Now I don't worry too much about that, but what I will do is snip it off with a pair of scissors, or you can add another slight layer of cream over the top of that pink. And when the cream pulls through to the coral, it doesn't really look like it as much as when the coral pulls into the white. It actually softens the coral a little bit, so I would recommend turning it over every once in a while and going along the backside. All right, so I'm gonna quickly add in the color on both of these. We've got our cute bunny shape, and we also have the pattern I provided you in your kit just to help you kind of compare. You can just lay the pattern underneath, and you know, it doesn't have to be exact. Like I said, these are sculptures, so each one's gonna have its own little flair and personality because you made it. But this is a great little guide for our beginner class. All right, we're doing good. I think it's time to give her some ears. So same process as before when we hooked together the head and the parts here. We're going to hook together the parts the same way. Make sure you know exactly where you want that ear going in. It's about a 1/2 inch from the edge, and you go down through both layers, the head and the bunny ear. Make sure to turn your piece over carefully and go through the back side also. We're going to make her bunny tail now. It's the bunny without her cute little tail. Take your white wool and you just really loosely roll it up. But this time we're making a fluffy ball for her tail. And you really don't need to go through this wool very much. I want to keep her tail cute and fluffy and it's kind of lumpy, but I love that, right? It should feel really lightweight. And then we're just gonna add it to her backside. Go down through the layers all around the perimeter here. Tails have perimeters. This will also help her to stand up. That is a trick to get your piece to be able to stand. It all has to do with how flat you can get the underside. That will take a little bit of time. And to do that, you might need to add a little bit more cream wool around her body. It just depends when you get to that point. That's at the kind of the end stages. But make sure that there's a nice flat side on her underside, so it will help her to stand. Step 8 now, we're going to take one of your lengths of thread and using a needle, it's got to be a slightly larger eyed needle. I truly hope that you have enjoyed needle felting with me today. And I hope you make a lot more cuties. If you can dream it up, you can make it.